I realized that there were a lot of paid advertisers and a lot of clients that were wanting to leverage paid ads, but there was this discrepancy of there's the funnel, the landing pages, the website. It was hard to find somebody that knew A, copywriting, B, good design, C, actual like strategy. You've got lead magnets that get you leads, and then you've got lead magnets that get you booked appointments.
Like 200 lead magnets. You felt like 200, right?
I built almost 200.
Dude,
Yeah, no, more than 200.
All right. Yeah, all right. Look it back out! Well, this is Ian Nelson, as you didn't know by the metal song. But he's a neighbor of mine too. We both live in Vineyard, and we've been friends for what? Probably like 2-3 years now, or
Almost coming up on 4.
oh yeah, probably. That's true. Ever since
you're
me
old,
and Doug.
man.
Yeah, old man, dude. Feeling it. I know. Every time I start even when I started the business, I was just like, oh man, it's actually been almost like 4 or 5 years.
No, it's crazy to realize how far we both come in this.
Yeah. But Ian is he's a lead magnet specialist as of recent, or not recent, but like what he's been focusing on more so. He's a 3 times award-winning marketer. He's gotten 2 Comma Club awards for businesses. He's gotten 2 CCX awards. That's the 10 mil award. What else? Gold SaaSpreneur at GHL.
Yep, Gold SaaSpreneur Award. And I can't take full credit on every piece of that. Definitely the team that we were working with was the one that we together were able to get it. But I was honored to be a part of that team during the time that we ended up getting those awards. But it goes to show that I've been around the funnel world for quite a while.
Yeah.
Russell Brunson and his and ClickFunnels, as well as Go High Level, and all the other different platforms of Kajabi and Squarespace, Wix, all the Webflow, all the different kinds. I've built on pretty much all the platforms that exist
crazy
right now. But yeah, no, I'm honored to be here, honestly, and excited to talk more about lead magnets and marketing and eating.
Oh yeah. We got some. I don't know what kind of chicken this is, but we got some beef and fried rice and lo mein. But yeah, I guess just to kick it off, like, how did you even get? Like, what was your story leading up into even getting into lead magnets?
Yeah, so before. I was one of those people that when I went into college, I was thinking to myself, yeah, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna, change the world. I'm gonna do stuff. And it was actually originally, you know what? I'm just gonna tell this story as is because I think it's just fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell the story. So basically, literally, when I first, I'm a nerd, straight up, like love all nerdy things. When I first went to business school, I was very much a nerd among Giga Chads. Oh wait, sorry, no, sorry. Giga Chad is a Chad who's made millions. So sorry, I'll start that over. When I was in business school, I was a nerd among Chads.
There we go.
My first class, dude, I had one of our Chad teachers literally start telling us, like, he's like, dude, he didn't say dude. He was like, all right, class, why are you here in business? Why are you here?
Yeah.
And I had one dude that was right next to me. He was two away from me, and he raises his hand and he's like, I want to go into real estate like my father before me. He didn't actually say it that way, but that's how I remembered him saying it. He was basically into real estate. The second dude wanted to build some form of like portfolio. He wanted to he wanted to be a serial entrepreneur and own a bunch of things. And it got to me and I'm like, I want to be able to afford Magic the Gathering cards and still have enough money for food and rent. And I was at a point where I'm like, okay, I just want to figure out how to make more money than just the traditional routes. Like, in all seriousness, my goal was I wanted to figure out what could I do? What could I do to actually start growing a business? So that way I could create a life that would allow me to have, have fun, to be like my parents are entrepreneurs, And so I wanted to follow that. So I went down that the entrepreneurial route, started a venture in school while I was in school.
Oh, nice.
And
BYU?
Yeah, at BYU.
Provo?
Yeah, I went to BYU Provo and in their entrepreneurship program. And while I was there, launched an awesome business that I had validated, did a lot of stuff with, but it completely failed. And it didn't just fail bad, like it failed to a point where I ended up spending a ton during when I was a broke college student. Like, I didn't have a lot of money, so a ton for me was a lot. It was all my savings. I spent all my savings trying to save this business.
What was it?
It was essentially an e-commerce brand for gamers, and
Cool.
I had pre-orders. I had almost $10,000 in pre-orders, but I launched.
Nice.
I launched on Kickstarter, and the worst part was I didn't hit my goal, and so I lost all my money. Yeah,
I didn't know you started with your own product on Kickstarter. I thought you helped someone else with. Okay.
No, so I started with my own Kickstarter, and then literally as I started going through it, I had my agency that was helping me at that time. They were like, "Oh man, you lost all your stuff, and your Kickstarter's done. Oh, well, that really sucks, man. Well, here's our invoice." It hit me to a point where I realized, like, well, one, I hit rock bottom in senior year. I didn't have any.
How old were you then?
I was, I was like 19. No, 19. I was like, I was about 22.
Okay.
Yeah, 22 at that point.
Senior
and then
year.
senior year, all that time was a blur. And then so I was 22, and I literally had no job prospects and no like internships, nothing. And I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, I suck. What am I going to do now? And while I was feeling sorry for myself in one of my classes, I had one guy. There was this entrepreneurship lecture series at BYU that they would play, and they would have a ton of different, essentially people coming in, entrepreneurs that were all very successful, sharing like me, I'm amazing. Like, hey, here's all the cool stuff I do.
Who has the biggest?
Yeah. There was one dude in particular that just looked at. He was looking at. He was like 30 years old at that time.
Okay.
And he was just basically explaining, he's like, yeah, so I travel the world because I can, and I can do whatever I want. And he was a digital nomad, and he's like, I do paid ads, and I'm a media buyer for some of the bigger companies out there, and I teach everything I do in a class here at BYU as an adjunct professor.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I heard that, I'm like,
sign me up.
Okay, well, I have nothing else to lose, so let's go for that.
There we go.
Went into it, realized that I sucked at media buying and paid ads, but we kept running into this problem. And the problem was there would be, as part of the class, we would have to find clients and do media buying or just running their paid ads for them for free to get experience.
Oh, yeah.
So we
That's
would
cool.
do that, but the problem was we always ran into the same problem of we were doing our jobs. We were finding the right targeting, getting all the right tracking in place and all that stuff, and sending traffic to a landing page or a funnel that the client had, and it wouldn't convert. And we would get blamed.
Oh, shoot.
Every time.
Yep.
And it was just like, oh man, if only their funnels were better and actually written in a way that would convert and other things like that, then maybe we'll be able to actually get, actual real sales and conversions and results, and then they would stop blaming us. But I realized that there were a lot of paid advertisers and a lot of clients that were wanting to leverage paid ads, but there was this discrepancy of there's the funnel, the landing pages, the website. It was hard to find somebody that knew A, copywriting, B, good design, C, actual like strategy and coordinating with the
automations,
all the automations, all the back-end systems, all the things. So I dove deep into that because I saw a need for it, and I started getting clients in that particular piece because I learned very quickly that there's a lot of people that needed help. They didn't want to do it themselves. It was a ton of work. I understood why there were so many paid advertisers because it's a lot easier to create up and throw up an ad and get some targeting going, and you're good. Whereas with the landing page, it's like, okay, I really got to understand your offer. I got to understand every aspect of what you're doing, and then I have to understand your client and all that stuff. And I started doing that on my own, and it got to a point where I started getting a lot of good clientele. I ended up getting an awesome job at a company called Mailbox Power. They extended me a VP position, and I ended up being a VP. And while I was there, they were the ones that we together as a team ended up getting the 2 Comma Club and the 2 Comma Club X and the Gold Entrepreneur Awards. And
you guys
then
grew that fast.
Yeah, it was one of those things that was absolutely incredible, and that team was absolutely incredible. And then ever since then, I branched out on my own. I'm also running the businesses essentially as a CMO for my family and other clients as well. And then also I started other businesses on the side.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I found recently is the topic of lead magnets, and that's kind of where we are, because during my time of creating landing pages and other pieces throughout my corporate career and my prior career, I learned very quickly that there was a need for booked appointments, like understanding how do I actually convince someone who is a lead, whether they come from a lead form from Facebook or they come from just straight direct from Facebook to a landing page. There's a big need of how do I turn that into a booked appointment that then sets them up for an actual sale. And that was a very powerful area to figure out, because a lot of people wanted that specific spot. And so I had decided, you know what, I'm going to go learn that as well as I can, so that way I could then build these types of high converting lead magnets to actually fill people's sales calendars with booked appointments.
That's cool, because when I think lead magnets, and this is my, as a media buyer, this is my biggest beef with all lead magnets, is like, it's like, hey, I'm going to give you a PDF of my 30 steps on how I do this. And even for my own, I have like an AI advertising newsletter. Yeah, I get cheap opt-ins, but like,
there's a discrepancy.
The quality is absolutely garbage. And I guess in your opinion, like, to get booked appointments, what makes the best type of lead magnet? Maybe there's not a real answer.
Yeah, no, there actually is.
There's
very much
cool.
an actual answer. Yeah, that's why we're chatting. Yeah.
Yep.
So there are 2 kinds of lead magnets, and instead of using jargon, I'm just going to explain like what they do instead.
Yeah.
So you've got lead magnets that get you leads, and then you've got lead magnets that get you booked appointments. And if you want to get more booked appointments, if you want real business from your leads, you need to use both.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to use one to get the leads.
To get them in.
Yeah, to get them in and build trust. Yeah. And then you need something that gets them even more trust, which essentially is where the second piece comes in. And so if you want to, I can just kind of start monologuing.
Go for it, dude.
You sly dog, you got me monologuing. That's probably what's going to happen right now. So the thing, like a lot of people who are on Facebook or LinkedIn, they've seen a lot of these kind of top of funnel lead magnets.
Yeah.
And you're very familiar with those PDFs, those frameworks, those guides, those 20-page documents that Claude wrote, but they said that they did. And all those things. Yeah. All of those ginormous things, they are extremely powerful for reach. Because the truth is, when you're looking at any platform, social media wise, the number one metric that all of them want is engagement. They want to see that people are creating content that actually gets more people into the conversation. And if more people are commenting for a specific piece, then it means that, oh, this is a really good post. And so those platforms will automatically push
it out.
Those really far out. And so that's probably sense. Why you see a lot of people saying like, hey, I made $500,000 last year, and I'm going to show you exactly my step-by-step framework of how to do that. It's exactly, like you'll see that. And they're starting to become more popular now. And people are like creating those and essentially building them out and then having them go. But what you did share that is true, there's something that a lot of these creators don't talk about, is the fact that majority of them just get you leads.
Right.
Because that's what they were designed to do. They're only designed to get you leads. And in order for your business to get sales, when you look at it, you already know the common phrase, and this will tie back into the lead magnet shortly, but this explains the second piece of the lead magnet of what you need in the machine in order to convert that lead that you get from a top of funnel lead magnet. And I recommend top of funnel lead magnets because they're great for that
for
fact
the buzz.
Of, they give you, it's a powerful marketing lever. You pull it once and you get like thousands of leads, and it's amazing. Like it's incredible. But people essentially many of you have heard this phrase before. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust.
Yeah. Yep.
And when you flip that on its head and you reverse it, it turns into people buy when trust is high. And so what's really important to know is that understanding of trust explains, or you need to understand that in order to get sales, you have to earn the trust of the people first, because nowadays we live in a time where they're bombarded by so many different things from social media, so much content, so much offers, that they don't realize that everyone has essentially a BS meter, something that they are guarding their trust. And the goal of a lead magnet shouldn't actually be to sell someone.
Yeah.
That's your role as the sales representative of your business, or whoever you have as your sales rep team.
Yeah.
Their job is to sell. The job of the lead magnet is to get them through the door, get the conversation started, but also in some aspects serve them with some form of value in order to gain their trust, so that way they're open to then talk about it. They're about to talk about the next steps and pieces. So it's go ahead.
So no, like, even if, like, let's say they sign up for a newsletter or a PDF, and they never even touch it, it's still an effective thing because they're on your list. Right?
Yeah, they're on your list. Exactly.
Like,
Well, they're on your list, but in order to get them to the next step, though, I'll talk about these next pieces, these next kinds of lead magnets. So I'm going to use an analogy from there's an amazing company out there called Creighton Barrel. For many of you who do know them or don't know them, I'm just going to give a quick recap. They're a California-based high-end
alcohol, wine, or
actually no, it's believe it or not, no, it's actually furniture. It's
furniture.
Yeah,
okay,
they're on the low end of furniture, not low end, the low end of the luxury brands.
The luxury?
Like
Nice.
it's like their couches are $5,000 instead of 15.
Oh,
it's like
shoot.
it's still like really high. But the reason why I bring them up is because they have one of the most powerful lead magnets that I have ever come across.
Oh.
And I know that because I went through it and ended up buying a lot of furniture. So
there we go.
I know how it works, and was able to replicate that in many instances. But the principles behind it are extremely powerful. And there's two of these kinds of lead magnets that I'm going to talk about. But this first one is the Creighton Barrel analogy. So
cool.
Creighton Barrel, they were trying to figure out in their sales process, because, by the way, there's, other than religion, there is no other harder thing to sell than high-end furniture, because it's literally one of those things that, like, you don't need the $15,000 couch, you don't need any of that.
Yeah.
It's just pure luxury, and no one needs it. And so as a result, their sales cycles are abysmal. It's awful because, like, they have to manage a lot of things. A, if they do manage to, they have to manage inventory. B, they have to manage seasonal, like they have to rotate out furniture for seasons.
Oh, yeah.
3, if they buy something, there's no guarantee that they have the thing immediately in inventory. They might, the person might have to actually end up, like, waiting 6 months for their table to come in. And this is all from experience, by the way. So I know all this stuff. But the point being is, it's a terrible business model in all sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
But at the same time, Creighton Barrel, we're trying to figure out, how do we increase sales predictably? How do we actually get to a point where we can get these people that are interested in buying our high-end furniture at a rate that allows us to put outspend behind it, that allows us to put it's a really tough equation. And so in their research, they're like, okay, let's look at our customers. Let's look at our highest paying customers, and let's walk through their customer journey as to what they went through in order for them to decide that they were going to buy Creighton Barrel furniture. Huh. So they went through it. They had a big survey, and kind of their teams went through all these pieces and researched it. And as they were researching all of their high-end clientele that ended up buying the most, they all found a really interesting piece. Every single one of them were stuck and their buyer's journey at the exact same point, right before they ended up deciding to purchase. Every single one of them. And that specific point is next episode. No, I'm just
it's too big.
The next point, every single one of them were stuck at interior design. every single one of them had a specific room in mind that they were trying to design for or build. But the truth was they were all very prideful people that they didn't want to hire an interior designer to actually do it. They wanted to they were like, I can do it myself. Like, I don't need a fancy interior designer. I'm a wealthy person myself and I have skills. So they wanted to figure out their own piece and their own design and their own stuff. And they were all stumped. Every single one of them.
People were confused on they wanted this luxury couch, but they didn't know where to picture it because with the furniture surrounding it and stuff. They're
like, I have this room here, and I don't know if I want it to be boho. I don't know if it's supposed to be coastal. I don't know if I don't know what I want in this. And so they're endlessly scrolling on Instagram and Pinterest and others, just trying to figure out their mood boards and all these things, but they don't know what they're doing. And so as a result, they were all trying to figure out this one strategy issue. And I call it strategy because this is where it comes into business, where it's like, I have a big issue with understanding the path to what I want, which is a beautiful looking home with good furniture. And I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So Creighton Barrel looked at this and they're like, okay, well, that's interesting. If we can influence this stage right before that they all want to purchase, if this is the biggest turning point for them, then why don't we serve them in this spot? So they created something as an experiment called the Design Desk. And what this is free interior design help for anything that you need.
That's awesome.
So literally what they do is there's 3 ways to meet. They will either go to your house.
Wow.
Like a designer will literally drive to your home.
That's a lead magnet.
I know. Yeah, it is. It's a powerful one. They'll go to your house, or they'll have you come into their showroom.
Cool.
Or they'll meet you on Zoom, and what they will do is they will literally map out your entire room or whatever it is that you have. They will rebuild it in 3D, and they will then literally create your space in 3D and help you design it. They will literally help you design it.
That's insane.
It is insane. It's incredible. And what then happened was they noticed a massive uptick in bookings.
Yeah.
Their clientele, their exact audience was very interested in that service because they're like, I need help with this. I want to understand all these aspects and I want that. Then as they were serving these people, they learned something. They're like, oh, wow. So these people, as we started giving suggestions and ideas about the path that they want and mix and match and collaborating, they found that majority of their clientele started falling in love with the strategies, with the designs, with the ideas. And it shifted the conversation away from, well, should I buy high-end furniture? I don't know. And it turned it into, well, which one do I choose? I like this. I like the Viridian couch, but what about the Gather one? It's just so nice. If I spent a little bit more, maybe then I can And so it turned into the sales representatives didn't really have to do much from that point on, because it was like, well, which options do you have based on your budget? Would you rather kind of go through this more minimalistic route that's a little bit less expensive, or would you like to go for the real thing you actually want, which is you really want that Gather couch with the
gold,
with the toupee rug. You really want those things. And it's just a $500 more. If you just go with that. That's it. And that's it. And if you actually act now, I'll give you 10%.
Exactly. And they're already so invested, I feel like, it's kind of like your issue of like, hey, I was running ads and you're controlling that piece, but it's like, no, if you can control the whole process, and they're already kind of locked in of like, okay, well, if you already helped me out with my funnel strategy and everything, then like, might as well,
it's true. No, it's true. And that's the thing that ended up happening was they found that majority of the people that went through this free service, and I'll call it a Grand Slam free service, taking what Hormozi shared, a Grand Slam free service that actually helped them in a real important spot, there was a higher chance that those people would end up buying something big than if they just randomly showed up in a showroom and were like, that one. Now, majority of the people aren't that way. And this goes to show in your business, look at where your clients have their critical buying points, and then see the thing they're stumped with, and hopefully it's something with strategy. that happens to be right before it. Because if you can influence that one stage before it with some form of free service, you are going to absolutely crush it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to look at your, like, from their perspective, they're going to look at you and your competitors, and they're going to look at you and they're going to be like, okay, so that one's like, I'm trying to think of like, let's see here, just kind of a service. That one, it wants me to pay them for a deposit. That one wants me to pay them for a deposit. That one pay me for a deposit. Oh wow, these guys will help me, like, they'll help me like plan out my strategy or like plan out my thing. Like, oh wow, actually that sounds good. And if you can influence them in that way and give them actual value where you're sharing strategy. So it used to be, ClickFunnels was very well known for this bit. It used to be sell the secret, sell the implementation.
Oh yes.
And it was great back in the day in 2013 through 2015 where you could literally just throw up an ad and then have a webinar and convert it. Yeah, it'd be amazing. It doesn't work that way anymore because it became everyone's super, no one is, and that's what happened. It turned into a thing where everyone's used to it. And then Hormozi's model came along of give away the secrets, sell the implementation, and that worked very well. But giving away the secrets is basically the here's my top of funnel lead magnet, here's my thing, and it does work in getting leads. But if you want business, you need to take it one step further. Help my client, my ICP or whatever, plan their strategy with the secrets. They will buy my implementation. And that's what it turns into now, is if you want to like really set one up for the sale. So where does this come into the lead magnet piece? If you have a Grand Slam free service where it's basically as soon as they come in, so they've got the deliverable, whatever deliverable you have should not be the ending point of your funnel at all. In fact, you shouldn't even worry too much about the exact value of thing that you create on the top of funnel, because there's a statistic, at least from our clients that we've ran, only 5 to 10% of the people actually read or watch the thing that you give. They save it. They don't watch it. They'll read it. They save it for later, thinking like, oh, I'm going to add this to my swipe file and maybe one day I'll bring it whenever I need it. That's what they're doing. So instead of trying to tell them right there and then, like, okay, here's the lead magnet, here's the full deliverable, try to then have that as an order bump opportunity for your Grand Slam free service. Because now they're interested in what you're doing and what you have. And now they're very like, okay, so for example, let's say if I offered, I'm just going to take media buying as an example. So let's say I had a top of funnel lead magnet. It's like, hey, I spent millions on ad spend, and these top 20 ad frameworks are the best frameworks that I've ever used for these. They convert us time and time again. I'm going to give you them all for free. Here you go.
Sweet.
So that's great. That's a great top of funnel lead magnet. Then instead of just giving them that, the very first thing, the next page, the thank you page when they opt in, is you give them a choice. You say, okay, here's the framework. It's going to take you, and you tell them, it's going to take you like 15 minutes to read this thing. Or here's a 10-second summary. And then they're going to go to the path of least resistance, and then they're going to look at the 10-second summary, and they're like, okay, what's the second summary? And it says, we've used these frameworks to essentially, double ROAS or grow people's businesses and all types of things. If you want to save time, we will help you write your next 10 to 20 ads to help you increase your ROAS for free.
Because that's what they actually care about.
Because that's what they care about. If you book with us now. First 10 people or whatever they're signing. Now all of a sudden it's like, I want that. Because no one has time to go through all this stuff. And instead they're going to look at it and they're like, oh my gosh, like I would much rather you do it for me. And that powerful service, then you go into it. And then what's really powerful too, because some of you might listen to this, are like, yeah, but I don't want to do free work for people. It's like, you can qualify it. Would you do free work for someone that actually has the money to spend on your stuff? Like if you knew that this was an actual client with the budget, then all you have to do for this is you add a qualifier in between. So that way, in order to get it, they have to apply for it. Where if they go through, you have to break it up though. Don't just say like, okay, you want 20 ad scripts or whatever, and I'm going to write it for you. Here you go. Just book with me. Don't do that, because then you're going to get a lot of people looking for freebies, unqualified. It's not going to be good. So instead, you have them opt in like further. So give me like your phone number, or give me your like just one more thing.
Yeah.
And then you put them in a survey. And the survey that you put them in has to do something with like the different qualification questions. You have to like, how much revenue are you making like a month? How are you spending money on paid ads right now? What's your budget? Like like you ask the qualifying questions and you break it up. And it's really important to break it up, because no one wants to fill out a 10-question form. But if it's a survey and it's a 1 question at a time and it shows a progress bar of where they are, then it's a lot easier, it's a lot better, and they actually fill it out. Then when the qualified ones get through, that's when you put them into the booking calendar. And then you give them a booking calendar. For the others, you essentially just say, awesome, thanks, you're on the wait list. Okay.
Yeah. Those 10 spots just filled up.
Oh my gosh, so darn. Yeah, those thought, no. You can be kind. Most people take that opportunity. There's some good ones that we've done that we love is we try to give them a downsell or like some form of other value where we just don't brush them off. We just say, hey, to be honest, with your current budget, we don't really feel like we're confident enough to be able to give you the results that we know we can. So we're not going to be able to give you those things. But here's a training, or here's a free discount to one of my lower ticket items or other things like that. If you are interested in things like that, you're not going to get a lot of people that are like going to buy them, but hey, it is at least, it's a little bit more, and it can add to your revenue. So it's a good revenue source in that aspect. But this is what we're seeing is working really well, because it bridges that gap where it gets them in, and then it asks them even more of like, hey, like here's the next step. Would you like access to that? And then let's say they leave. Let's say they don't actually end up like going through with it.
Sure.
The best machines in these lead magnets are the ones that understand where the people are and keeps track of them when they get in.
Sure.
And so if they leave, you need to have things in place that reach out to the person and say, what do you call it? Hey, you left, and
hop on my call.
Yeah, I have free thing for you. Yes, yeah,
I have free thing.
Yeah. and so you need to have reminders in place to talk with these individuals where they are in the process that tries to get them to come back.
Makes sense.
Because if you don't have those systems in place, then you're leaving a lot of money on the table, because they might have just got busy. They might have been scrolling on while they were on the toilet, and then they had to get up. And so they're not really thinking, they might not have been in the right place to opt in or to think. So it's always good to have additional things in place to just remind them. And so that's what I'm talking about, like a really powerful version of lead magnets. There's one more version too that I want to talk about, because some people.
So that's one funnel though. For that one, like, I guess where I was getting confused, like, I think where I've been messing up is like, I have just the top of funnel one, but I need to add the back end. But it's not like you have two different funnels. I guess you can if you wanted to, but it's like, it's just one funnel, but the thank you page acts as step 2. And so it's like a 3-page funnel.
It's a 3-page funnel, and the front end, if you're posting on social media, the front end changes consistently.
Oh, true.
Because you're going to create a new lead magnet and you're a new thing. But if you're doing paid ads or cold outreach, or like, especially if it's cold outreach in any way, shape, or form, you want to have just a solid opt-in funnel to get them. Now, if your Grand Slam offer, free service, is strong enough, like Creighton Barrels, then you can run paid ads straight to it. That's what Creighton Barrel does. They spend millions on just sending people to that lead magnet, because it's strong enough that they don't have to dance around getting people to book.
Or like Beta Linked, because theirs is pretty much straight to an audit, correct?
Yeah, it was. Like Beta Linked was that as well, where when we were doing our when I was working with them, we were trying to figure out how do we find what is that stuck point for them, for our target. And what we found was that majority of the people that came to them had the same issue of they ran LinkedIn ads because they got a budget, and then it didn't work well because LinkedIn punishes you pretty bad if you don't know what you're doing with your spend. And so their costs were through the roof. And so every time they would come to AJ or B2 Link, they're like, what do I do? Like my ads, my costs are so high. And so we built a lead magnet based off of that, which was, hey, are your LinkedIn ad costs through the roof? And we literally had a house, a house that had like ad costs going straight through the roof. Yeah. And we're like, if your ads are through the roof, give us 30 minutes and we'll show you how to fix it for dollar amount crossed out, $500 free.
Cool.
We'll do it for free. We'll help you. And that worked out really well. Like he got an insanely high amount of people booked. And if we didn't have that qualifier in place, he would his sales representative would have literally had 71 appointments day one.
Holy crap.
It was insane. It was a powerful lead magnet and it did its job very well.
That's awesome.
And then he was able to filter that down to 14 people that were actually their targets. So
that is cool.
It's really powerful. And yeah, so this is one kind of funnel,
strategy.
But yeah, it fully depends. I recommend, if you're doing some form of cold outreach that's not paid ads. I mean, it does work for paid ads too, but like I said, if you do have that strong mid-funnel offer, you can just skip straight to the mid-funnel. But if you're just trying to do cold outreach through email or direct messages or the social media posting types, you do want to use a top of funnel lead magnet because that is easier to bridge the trust first. Because people, if you go straight after someone who doesn't know you and is like, I'll do this free service for you for free, and if they aren't comfortable knowing you or haven't seen you or anything like that, they might kind of it's like, that sounds way too good to be true. Red flags. I don't really want it. But if you're instead, for example, if I'm a marketing company or I'm an agency and I'm thinking about how do I get response rates, positive response rates, and I want to target CEOs or high decision makers or whatever, instead of just trying to say, hey, I looked over your profile and you look like a good fit for me. Instead of doing that, you send them a document of hey, by the way, the first thing you actually say is, I have nothing to pitch you. That's the first thing that you say. The second thing is look, I create a report. I pay attention to what the marketing trends are in your industry because that's who we serve. That's the people that we do. Yep. And I've actually created a full-on report for you to show you what in 2025, what's coming, what are the trends, and there's certain things that you have to look out for that are coming that you have to be aware of. Do you want it? Do you want this report? And
super easy.
Really easy. Where it's oh yeah, that does actually sound good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then they get into the funnel. And then from there, that's when the rest of the machine kicks in, where it's oh, hey, by the way, if you ever need help with any form of marketing strategy or ad strategy or whatever agency that you are, whatever strategy piece, if you need help with that, I'll help you for free now that we're connected, and let me know if that's of any interest with you. And then the name of the game is follow-up to make sure that they just keep doing it. Yep. And those are the pieces. Now, there's going to be some of you that are going to say, okay, Ian, well, what if I don't have anything that I can give for services? What if I can't do a service in some way? I can't just give away the strategy completely for free.
Yep.
Well, there's another strategy, because the current strategy that I shared with you, it's a little bit more time intensive.
Yeah.
Where it does require a little bit more effort up front in order to get it.
Yeah.
There is another strategy. This strategy is also equally powerful at getting bookings.
Yeah.
But it relies more on the skills of your sales representative to actually close it. So this side, these are, so you've got the Grand Slam free services. These are the Grand Slam free offers.
Yep.
And these are essentially the Hormozi model, where many of you are familiar with 100 million offers. I hope you are. If you haven't, just read that book. It's amazing. But one of the things that it talks about is how to craft offers that are so good that your audience would feel stupid saying no to.
Right.
There's a lot of people that hear that and still think that they can offer a free consultation and that's enough. So what that means, that phrase, where it sounds it's so good that feels stupid to say no to, it's actually translated as it sounds too good to be true.
And even just the term free consultation screams nah, I don't care for that. Just I don't know.
Instantly just it's just it's easy for me to say no to. But this is probably why there's many of you out there who, if you're following Travis or see the other, see just a lot of people talking about ads and different things that are powerful frameworks, offers, you'll see, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen this, I'll get you 30 booked appointments with your ideal client in the next 30 days, or you don't pay, or your money back.
So many of those.
Yeah, there's a ton of those.
Very trendy now.
It's very trendy because the truth is those work. Yeah. They generate curiosity. And that's what they're doing. And many people then are like, it's meant to put you on edge. It's meant to get you to ask the question, what's the catch?
Yep.
But the only way to answer that what's the catch question is they have to get on a call with you.
Yep.
And that's what that strategy does, is it gives you an offer that sounds way too good to be true.
Yeah.
And it just makes you so curious that you're like, okay, all right, fine, let's
Might
try
as well.
it. Might as
Yep.
well. It won't hurt. And I can always call BS.
Yep.
So
low risk.
Yeah.
They said money back guarantee.
Yeah.
I've always been scared to ever run anything like that. But
Now, there are different ways to run that, because a lot of people, once again, they have to have big clauses somewhere on the site that basically says like, hey, here's the conditions of the guarantee. If you don't follow the exact blah blah blah, then it's not gonna, we're not gonna give you it. But there are different ways that you can guarantee. So one, you can guarantee money back, or you can guarantee more time. So for example, there's a lot of companies out there that are service-based that it's usually a one. This works best for one-time services, where if you have a one-time service and if it doesn't work, you'll work for free until it does.
Oh, okay, cool.
And that is a extremely powerful, like that's only good for one-time services though. You don't want to have that as a reoccurring model, or it doesn't work well with that. But for a one-time service, that's a flip side guarantee that does really well, because a lot of people, because when you think about it, the guarantee, the whole point of it is to reduce risk. Like it's trying to get them to say, yeah, okay, let's try it. And in this particular case, where it's like, hey, you pay once, I'm going to get you your result. Yeah. And if it doesn't, we're going to keep doing it until you do, and it's going to work. It's going to be okay. Yep. And they're a lot more likely to then agree to it, because they're like, oh, wow, like these guys are awesome. They actually have my back.
That's what I did with my content guy, because I use probably 2 to 3 other content dudes for organic to grow and everything. And it's always been like, I don't know, nothing crazy. I've never been impressed with the scripts or the editing that they've done. It's never really grown that much. This guy, he's just like, hey, first 2 months free, or not. He's like, first 2 months you still pay, but if it doesn't work, I'll basically give you 2 extra months. And I was like, oh, okay, well, for 4 months for that, okay. And then it worked the first 2 months. So I was like, okay, we'll just keep going.
And honestly, if you are a good service that you're confident in what you do, what's great about this is it takes the pressure off you from lying and saying like, oh yeah, no, it's gonna work the first time round as it goes. And the truth is, rarely do things work the very first time you launch. Like even with ads, like the amount of ad creative that you need to test in order to actually see which one is going to perform the best. Like
even offers.
Dude, even offers. You don't know. You just try. You just try your best. And then if it doesn't work, it's like, okay, it's fine. And then it helps, because then it sets the expectations well. And so that's why I like those kinds of guarantees better than the money back. Because the truth is, if it does happen where you have to give your money back, that really screws up your time and your business. And so if you guys are thinking about like, well, how do I do a guarantee that isn't like that money back? Well, this is another option. You can offer those. Those do well at the second piece of the lead magnet too.
Second piece.
Yeah. So if you do, and they can do, if you're doing paid ads directly, those work too. But if you have a top of funnel lead magnet, so I got 20 ad scripts that are really amazing. And then the next piece is, oh, by the way, I'll double your OS or your money back. Then it's like, okay, I'm curious. But something that's really important to note, if you do these in your funnel, you have to have one section below that offer that says, what's the catch? You need to have
everyone's
that.
Thinking it.
Oh
anyways,
yeah,
so.
Everyone. So something that kills me is like, yes, like you can always get away, because there's a lot of marketers out there that are just like, let's just do one pager like funnels where they opt in and things like that. One page funnels are great for that aspect, but a lot of the times they don't deal with objections. They don't deal with hidden objections. And so if you have a second section that illustrates like why you can trust me, and it's oftentimes what's the catch, and if you own that there is a catch, like for example, if I say I am a business in the business of getting X results for clients. I am looking for my next people to serve, and I'm confident that I can help you. But at the same time, I know I have to earn your trust. So I'm willing to give you time to actually show you that I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to give you your exact thing or promise X thing. And if you don't believe me, look at all my results. Look at my clients. Look at, here's what everyone else has to say.
Yep.
And then that does really well too of having proof, social proof, all these people, video testimonials, people that are letting me know like, hey, this is working. This is great. Yeah. Travis knows what's up. Like that's when you know like, okay, that's how you convince someone that like, you're not just trying to scam them. Yeah. You're just confident in what you do.
That's fair. Yeah. Cause I was going through your lead magnet earlier just on your site and everything. And I noticed that too. It's like, what's the catch? I was like, oh, perfect. And there's testimonial of Austin and, you know, other things too that I was like, okay, just so, you know, like 200 lead magnets. You've built like 200, right?
I built almost 200. Yeah, no, more than 200. I built, I'm actually pushing up to 250 now. It's literally.
You're busting them out fast.
Dude, yeah, no. Well, cause I know what converts. So now I'm just like, all right, just got to make sure that the right Lego pieces are in place for this client. But yeah, man, like literally over the past 4 to 5 years, I've built around 250 of them, and they are, it's one of those things where I've kind of dialed it down to I know exactly what the pieces are, and it's just making sure that I mix and match them correctly depending on what kind of service that we're offering, what kind of brand we're offering, what would work well with certain audiences and other things like that. So yeah.
I'm curious what you see on average of like before something really sticks, just like with some of your clients, like obviously maybe the first lead magnet doesn't always work out or whatever, but like what's kind of like an average, or is it really just dependent on the niche or something like that?
It really does depend on the niche. Sometimes like we hit it right off the gate and it's just like, it's amazing. Like 40 book, like I had one where we literally, it was a local aesthetics place, and we had a very powerful lead magnet where we basically, it literally booked her with $1,000 of ad spend. It booked her 30 appointments. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. And she was like, wow, this is great. And we kept going. And that one worked first. And then the other piece, I had another one where we launched and it didn't work. And that's the thing that it's really important to know is, I've built over 250. Not all of them worked
at once.
Worked at once. And it was one of those things that I had to figure out. I've just failed enough, or not failed, I've tried enough to know, like, if it didn't work, it's probably because of the offer or the funnel or the thing, and I know then how to fix it and go through. But a lot of the times, I'm hoping for that home run, like the first round. But sometimes it can take up to 2 or 3. Cool. And it fully depends, which is why, like when we were talking about guarantees, I oftentimes give a guarantee for mine where it's basically if my lead magnet machine doesn't work for a certain period of time or thing, then I will help you for free to make it, so long as you provide traffic. That's the one kicker is you have to provide traffic, because otherwise I'm not going to provide traffic for you unless you're on LinkedIn, because we also build the top of funnel lead magnets too for people. We do the top of funnels. Cool. We also do the deliverables too. So a lot of the times people don't have the time to write the 20-page documents. We do that for them.
Sweet. You build it out.
We completely build it out and everything for people, so that way they can grow their LinkedIn or their social media and then get booked appointments, because we then funnel all of that traffic into the lead magnet machines that we build. So
that's cool. So it sounds like, just to recap that, there's like 2 approaches you can take. There's like, the first funnel can be a top of funnel lead magnet, very easy to get in, to get the cheap opt-ins or a lot of buzz towards it. But the second page of it still has that guarantee aspect, like a VSL, or like the outcome to get them on the booked call. And then the second approach is kind of just leading with that curiosity of, hey, I'm so confident that you can just book right with me and I'll show you. So, or is that kind of like the 2 lead magnets essentially?
Those are the 2 best performing right now. By far.
Right on.
And the better that you can understand what offer is going to make them, and you just test these different offers. And if you're too afraid of people taking it up on you, put a qualifier. Put a qualifier with the ones that are your exact audience, and just make sure that you've got a good qualifier in place so that only the real people that you want to talk to are actually through it.
Cool. I have a client that you know, and I wonder if this is what we figured out for John Jonas for onlinejobs.ph. Okay. So for the longest time, we were running lead magnets just to like PDFs, things like that. And we're getting cheap opt-ins. Honestly, he was satisfied under $10 leads. You'd be like, I write my list every day for years. And so he converts long-term. So he's like, it's totally worth it. but nothing was converting. We originally started from lead magnet to buy 1vaaway.com, or which is like the $49 low ticket thing, and it just never converted, just garbage leads as we thought or whatever. And then we realized that people were getting confused. I started hopping on calls with a lot of the customers, and they're like, yeah, you know, I see John all the time and I see online jobs. It's like, do I buy his course first? Do I go on his free trial first? Do I read his lead? And it was there's so many offers and things that we're doing. People were getting confused, and so I was like, okay, what would you like to see? Like, what makes sense to you? They're like, yeah, lead magnets are fine or whatever, but I just don't see a need. We found out that people were buying the mini course when they got stuck using the actual software of like Online Jobs at PH, of like they already were in the trial and then maybe they bought the paid version, and then they were getting stuck with, man, how do I actually qualify all of these people? Just for the audience, they teach people how to, they have a platform to hire people easily from the Philippines, like virtual assistants, things like that. They call them OFS, like online Filipino specialists, but people were getting stuck there. And so now we're just running kind of, maybe it's similar to what you're talking about, but I think we can add to it. It's just going to my mind now. It's like we have a lead magnet and just goes to the thank you page, and that's all it is, and it delivers it, but it stops there. But the second one we have for retargeting all of those leads is to start a free trial, because the goal was to just get people to make a free account. And so we have those too, but I feel like I can beef up that first top of funnel one on the thank you page by saying, hey, create a free account right here, and then click it and leave it there. Because I was like, because we're running those two funnels, and that's why I was curious about it, but it's clicking now of like, okay.
And then if they leave from that free trial, you send them into an email sequence that convinces them to come back. To come back. To join it. And you'll want to be aggressive with it, because right then and there is when they're most likely to opt in for a second thing. And so that's where you try to make them feel special and just be like, hey, like seriously, this closes in like a certain period of time. You need to sign up for this, man. And so
that's cool. Well, I guess is there, and this is just, I know you do it mainly on LinkedIn, but these lead magnets work on every channel for the most part?
No. So it works for any form of outreach.
Okay.
But depending on what the outreach is, you have to match the lead magnet for.
Cool.
So for example, if I was a cleaning service, it would be much better for me to not be on LinkedIn and be on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. And essentially you could say, hey, first cleaning free or something like that. First,
something to get them in.
Something to get them through the door. And we're just trying to, and ideally, if you're doing something for free like that, you want to get reviews. Your goal is like, I will do this in exchange for you giving me a 5-star review.
Okay.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful way to start getting people. And then you consistently talk to them. You can then from there try to figure out like, okay, how often do you want to, then you can bring them to the next steps. But you got to get them through the door first with something like that. And it depends. It fully depends on the channel. Right now, LinkedIn, the reason why I'm on LinkedIn is because there's a lot of top of funnel lead magnets that are being circulated around. And a lot of people realize that right now, this is the best way to grow on LinkedIn, is to use top of funnel lead magnets to hyper spike. It almost hacks the algorithm, and it lets you just explode and impressions and other things like that. So if you're on LinkedIn, you need top of funnel lead magnets, but you don't want to do it yourself, like talk to me because I can help you with those.
It is, marketingnerdy.com.
But those are really powerful on LinkedIn right now, but they do work on other platforms as well. But by far, LinkedIn, as of right now, it just happens to work really well on LinkedIn.
I've noticed that. I don't know if you've seen some of my content over the last like month, but I've been spying basically on your stuff and Tim Keen's stuff. And I noticed like why you need so many lead magnets, because it's kind of like they'll do like a quick scroll and then it'll be like, hey, comment this word, and you send them the opt-in page, and then it got on your list. But it's cool. I had one post go viral ish or whatever, it got like 120 comments or something of people, but like I've been doing Facebook for a long time, and I very rarely get past like 20 comment mark. Now a lot of the comments are AI, I feel like. I see a lot of those, but I'm getting a lot of opt-ins still, like still people on the list.
And it's
efforts.
Because it's powerful. It really is. And it's one of those things that's just incredible right now for growth. People love it. And our clients right now that we've done this for and we created the post for, they're growing insanely well because of these types of lead magnets.
So
and
cool.
then they're able to get booked appointments too because of the rest of the machine that's essentially
Keeps
set up.
going.
And so they literally just have to post every day and then they get booked appointments.
Yeah.
Literally how it works. Or they don't post every day. You don't want to do these lead magnets like every day. You want to do them like once a week.
Once
like
a week.
That's like,
overwhelm them.
yeah, because people get to a point where if you're doing it too much, they start to get super fatigued really quick. It's better if it's spread out once per week.
Cool. Well, no, that's super helpful. I guess last question I just want to ask all the guests who do come on, but like AI is moving really quick. Of just like, how are you currently utilizing AI in the lead magnet space or funnel
Yes,
space?
for sure. Creating deliverables.
Okay.
Yeah, writing out those documents and helping people, because like what I love doing is I'm really good at being able to condense stuff, and even with AI, it helps me condense even faster.
Yeah.
So like, for example, some of our clients or processes, we will interview them and get a whole like interview where we basically ask them about their expertise and all these certain elements, like what you're doing with me right now, where I'm just kind of sharing everything I know.
Yeah.
Then we take that transcript and then we throw it into GPT. And then from GPT, we have it essentially tell us how many lead magnets or different angles of lead magnets that we create of deliverables.
That's cool.
And then as soon as we do that, we take those deliverables and the transcript, and then we work with Claude to be able to write the essentially some of these actual stuff. And we do that because Claude is really powerful when it comes to actually creating like Claude is really good at writing. It's not great at research, but it's really good at understanding like how to write better than GPT does as of right now.
I agree.
And so as a result, we're using AI all the time, because otherwise it would take us way too long to have to do all this stuff. And then of course we have like that will never get you 100% of the way there. It will only get you maybe like 70% of the way there.
Still have to edit it.
Yeah, you still gotta go through. Yeah, you gotta write their voice. You gotta still. There's still work. Don't get me wrong. This is not like a magic button that's like, yeah, I press a button and then magically I've got a full transcript. No, it's a process.
Cool.
But it is shortened by AI because it allows you to condense all the research and compile it into useful information that is digestible and consumable, and then you just you then package it up, and then that's kind of like what our process is of what we're doing right now, and it's working extremely well. Like we are able to pump out some really good lead magnets for people and then edit them, and then our clients are always impressed because they're like, "Oh my gosh, like this is amazing. They sound like me." I'm like, "Yeah, because it took your voice from what you gave me for the transcript." So yeah, it is actually technically you. I just wrote it all out. But yeah, those are the main things that we're using, and it's working out really well for us. And then there's always other AI softwares that I'm like paying attention to, trying out and other things like that. But I'm still trying out other ones to see, but right now GPT and Claude are amazing.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, I think it's probably pretty good right there. And if you want to follow Ian and everything, best place is probably LinkedIn. Yeah,
it's gonna be on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, and I also as my personal lead magnet that has helped me grow considerably is I help companies map out their entire lead magnet strategies completely free. And so if you guys ever need help with any form of lead magnet strategy and you want to figure out how do I get more booked appointments, what machines do I need, what offers, what things do I, how should I look, how should I structure it, what are my email sequences? If you need any of that mapped out, I will literally map the whole thing out for you for your specific business. So
and Ian's quick. Like I've had a lead magnet built out by and that was the early stages when you're offering that cert, and it was still really quick and it's good. You asked the right questions, all that. So if you need lead mag, especially on if you have a following on any social media channel, I feel like it would come in super handy. So
my site's marketingnerdy.com, and you can see me. You can book a time with me through there.
Right on. Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Ian.
Yep.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.